Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live. It is edition number 42. Great to have your company as always. Now, my guest tonight is Mark Hughes. How do you produce targeted organic content for your business Facebook page? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to sum it all up in one simple phrase that you need to remember all the way through the programme. Why do I care to share? It's very important when you start thinking about it. All will come completely plain and clear to you. As I said, my guest this evening is Mark Hughes from Funky Social Media. Mark, great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be here.
Lovely to have you back as well. A cracking show lined up this evening.
Yeah.
Just give us the overview of what we're going to be talking about.
Well, the overview really is how to produce content for your Facebook page, but it can go in an extension. It's how to produce content organically that resonates with your audience on all your social platforms.
And the thing that's important about this is that Facebook, it really is a powerful tool that businesses can use. Do a lot of people, and I know we've had this discussion before, but do a lot of people think of Facebook really just down with the kids, or even down with the adults these days, because it's kind of lost its coolness with the kids a wee bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But is it something that is a valuable resource for business?
It absolutely is. I mean, the average age, or the largest growing segment of people using Facebook these days are 34 to 55-year-olds. So it's definitely growing in stature and growing out of that status of just for the teenagers and just for, you know, sticking an image of what you had for breakfast up on your timeline. And, you know, as many as 76% of business owners are now using Facebook for business.
And what kind of return are they seeing from it?
Well, it's a pretty good return. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, social media needs to be seen for what it is, and it's to be social. So, you know, you can still sell off your Facebook page, but the idea is you've got to build the relationship and get some engagement going first before you ever get to the selling stage. And that engagement really starts with content. It's about putting your brand across. It's about giving your company some personality, and it's not all just one-dimensional, rigid marketing. It's now, you know, they refer to it as inbound marketing now, where you're producing content to rather pull people in than push them through your funnel.
The trouble with all of this, though, isn't it, and with a lot of business programs that you see, and when people are doing presentations about this, when they're telling people this is what you need to do, it tends to be a generic sentence nearly. You need to be doing this, that and the other, and they never seem to go into detail. Now, we're going to go into the detail tonight.
Exactly. I'd like to give you a couple of practical, because I believe, you know, you can sprout the theory till the cows come home and nobody's ever going to act on it, or you can provide a couple of practical methods to actually do this and make a difference in the way you market.
So if you're thinking about actually sorting yourself out and getting it all together at the moment, Mark and myself are going to take you through just some of the key things that you need to remember when it comes to using your Facebook in a more proactive and more productive way for your business. And that's really what's important about tonight. Now, we're going to be looking at a few different ways that you can actually do this. If you had one big suggestion to people in business for using Facebook, what would be the core key thing that you would say to them? I mean, what's the biggest mistake you see, for instance?
Well, the biggest mistake is people update their Facebook timelines all day long, every day. Some people do it consistently. The norm is that they do it very erratically, and I would say that needs to change. You need to have engaging content, but first and foremost, you need to have content that resonates with your audience. You know, I find a lot of, especially the smaller, well, not just the smaller, but small and medium business owners, they make the mistake of producing content that they think their audience will find interesting. So you're not writing for your target market.
And is it important, do you think, the actual format of the content? Is it, you talked there about writing. I mean, can it be writing? Can it be video? Is it what you think your target audience is after? Which do you find is the most effective?
Well, I've got an image slide here, so can I bring that up?
Yeah.
I mean, we take the word viral with a pinch of salt, because if you've got, you know, half a dozen fans on your Facebook business page, the chances of something going viral is very slim. So, you know, with a slight disclaimer, we would say that you need to be practicing the art of acquiring more followers in order for something to go or stand the chance of going a bit more viral. But the kind of things that we're talking about is a variety. So variety is the spice of life, as we've come to know. So it's articles, blog posts, video, as you mentioned, very popular. Probably one of the methods that I prefer the most is video, and certainly without any doubt is images. Things like it could be memes, it could be quotes, it could be infographics, a very popular form of representing content these days. And then, you know, games, little widgets, quizzes, polls, all those kinds of things.
I mean, do they really work? I mean, and is it a case that if you put this onto your website, what you've got to do is you've actually got to action it as well. You've got to do something with that content, and it isn't just a one-hit wonder, effectively.
No, I mean, it's like everything. Have a strategic objective in mind, and if I take a case, an example now, is I've got a client who's in the skincare niche, and she's going through, and we'll talk about customer profiling, but she's going through this whole exercise right now from startup to trying to acquire fans, and now starting to think of what kind of content she's going to be putting up on her Facebook page. But it's not just about the content, it's about saying, well, what do we set a theme? You know, so do we run a theme for a week and then we post content just, you know, remaining within that the parameters of that theme? And then what is that kind of content? So for hers, it's skincare. So we might talk about things like what's your daily skincare routine? What are healthy recipes that you could help to get good skin tone? And we set a nice theme, and then we would position it around different things. So we'd use just images, we'd use blog articles, we would use infographics, we use videos, and we mix it up. However, we use it on a 10-4-1 basis. Now,
so what does that mean?
Right, 10-4-1 is it's 15 posts in all based around that theme. 10 are fun. 4 are informative, so that's how-to, tips, advice, and then the 1 is that money post, and that's the post that goes out to her offer. So it's the actual monetization. So you're doing 10 is fun, so it's just good old fun stuff that you can go on a variety of sites and curate that kind of content from. 4 is informative, so you're getting a little bit more to the nitty-gritty. So you're building somebody up, and then that 1 is the money.
So it's a worry, though, isn't it, that you don't have the audience there to do this too. So you can't start if someone's watching this today and they're thinking, well, actually, I don't have a business Facebook page at all at the moment. To start and do that, I mean, we're looking at a page that is actually quite mature, I would imagine, at the moment. It's probably got followers on it already. It's got a number of different people there. Is there a case that you've actually got to build your audience first before you can start doing that kind of direct-to-them marketing?
I would say yes and no. I mean, obviously, it makes sense that you need to have a Facebook business page, first of all. If you're going to be driving or any form of fan, so it could be an invite from your actual database that you can invite to become a fan of the Facebook page, or whether you're using paid advertising to get fans there, that's fine. However, you're not going to ever send them to a barren, you know, content-less Facebook page. So you still need to give it that mature look about it. So you're going to be putting content on there anyway. But yes, I agree, you do need fans. So the idea is through this content as well, is once you start drip feeding your fans in, you're producing the content that gets shared, which then, why I care to share, you're producing the content that people are saying, well, yes, I'd like to share this with my network. It resonates with me, it will resonate with them. They hit the share button, and what are you doing there? You're getting exposure for pretty much free into other people's networks. You know,
I suppose the problem is a lot of the time that you'll go onto some sites, so you may work very hard on your site and you'll see no traction at all.
Yeah.
And then you'll go onto other people's sites where they're talking about pink pussycats, and all of a sudden there is huge traction, and they're getting a phenomenal amount of followers and a lot of coverage from that. And there is really that frustration that I think businesses have when they look at their Facebook page and they see that nothing is actually happening on it.
Okay, well, you hit the nail on the head, and I'll tell you why it's not happening.
They haven't got pink pussycats on it.
Well, for one, they don't have pink pussycats, so they need to test. I mean, my favourite word in any kind of online marketing, not just Facebook, is test, 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 test. And you've got insights, which are like your statistics that Facebook give you, for you to check out what's resonating with your audience or not. So that's one of the things that I would look into and say, right, who am I reaching? it shows you the age group, it shows you how the post is being received, and then you say, right, okay, that one's being received quite well. It reached people, a couple of people commented, shared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate or duplicate more like that, because it's already giving you the insight into what your audience is finding valuable.
Well, I mean, it's a fascinating area, and I think the thing that's so important about all of this is that really using your Facebook page is actually going to do the thing that's going to maybe help save your business. If you're not considering your Facebook page to be part of your marketing campaign, and it's interesting, you know, people will spend hours looking at a piece of artwork for a piece of printed marketing material, but yet they will, to a certain extent, they will poo-poo a Facebook page and they'll just walk away from it. They'll give it maybe just 2 or 3 seconds thought and then just do something. Yet the two can be as powerful. And the nice thing about it as well is that if you are using a Facebook page in business, I'm sure you'll agree on this, is that the people that are coming to your Facebook page are probably more interested in what you're doing as a business. The fact that they're there at all shows that they've got some form of interest. They're either associates, contacts, friends, colleagues, maybe your competitors as well for that matter. But it does show that you've actually got something that is more niche perhaps than, shall we say, the general run-of-the-mill kind of page advertising that you do. Yeah. And that is really important to remember that.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, your primary focus for any social media is the relationships that you're trying to build and nurture and enforce through your social pages. So Facebook is really, it's a phenomenal way for, as you say, potential prospects to come and check you out. They're going to go to your website, they're going to see you on social media, they're going to go and have a look on your social pages, say they come to your Facebook business page, they're going to see, right, okay, how engaging is this page? How many fans have you got? What conversations are going on? And also, even more so, is what content is being shared here? Is it just the boring old single line or long-winded status update with just a link that's sending them somewhere arbitrarily? Or is it content that's structured and really created around the experience?
All right, we've rattled on, the pair of us now, for way too long. And just give us the core things that we're going to be looking at then this evening. What are you going to be showing us?
Okay, so what I wanted to show you was what I believe is fundamentally the most important part of the process before you can do any of this, and that's to set about doing your customer profile.
All right then, so we're going to be looking at your customer profile very shortly. That's what's coming along in just a few seconds' time. Before we get down to the nitty-gritty of how you can put together a really good, effective business Facebook page, we're going to have to take a bit of a look back at what happened in last week's program. We had Tim Bodell from Phoenix IT. He talked about how better adoption of the cloud enables SMEs to free up real estate and then also to free up skills to focus on their core business. An absolutely fascinating night. If you're not into the cloud computing at all, if you're not thinking about the way that you actually have maybe data and content off-site, then Tim actually explained all of that. It was a fascinating evening. If you haven't contemplated it for your business, then maybe you should actually watch the entire program. That was Business Connections Live number 41. If you didn't see the show live last week, let's have a bit of a gander at what happened on Business Connections Live. Now, our guest tonight is Tim Bodell. He is from Phoenix IT, and he's going to be talking about how better adoption of the cloud enables SMEs to free up real estate, skills to focus on their core businesses, and it really is about making certain that you get the maximum return when it comes to using the technology that you're using in business on a daily basis.
Now, you don't need to have all of those worries. You don't need to have any people or skills on site. You don't need to have any real estate that worries you. You don't need to have any equipment on site. All of the standard services that you need from computing can be delivered from a remote data center. You don't need to know where it is. It's really enabling smaller businesses to access the same level of compute power that a large business has been used to for some time. Larger organizations have been delivering technology out of their own data centers for many years. You can now afford to have a very high-speed connection into your business, which enables these services to be delivered remotely rather than having to have everything local, as you described earlier. What the cloud offers is for a small business or indeed an individual to take advantage of very expensive, very sophisticated security measures, but on a shared basis. You only pay for the bit of it that you're using. Because of the technology, because of the security, because of the level of resilience that's built into these environments, whilst there may be outages, their impact is usually very minimal. Our CloudSure UK product and a lot of the typical providers aim to provide a full end-to-end service over the internet connectivity. So you have a connection into our data center, and over that we'll provide you with email services, standard Office applications, your word processor, your spreadsheet, your communications, so your telephone service and any messaging service that you might have as well, which of course can be very sophisticated now and include video. And maybe your line of business application. You mentioned that you use Adobe here, so we will provide an environment on which to load your application in our data center. So there's no need for any technology, any real estate, anything, any storage of equipment on your site other than the devices that you want your users to access those services with. You don't have to worry about licensing anymore, and you're absolutely right. Not only is counting the number of users that you have using the licenses one part of the problem, but keeping the software updated is probably a bigger problem that many people don't necessarily neglect deliberately, but certainly neglect from a vendor's recommender perspective. And all of those things would just be taken care of for. The cloud is perfect for giving you a whole new world of choice as to how you back up and how you provide resilience in that data. The question really is, how important is it to you that you can access that data at any time, in any place, and on any device? And the cloud will give you a whole host of options as to how quickly you can get at the data, how easily it is to access various points in the data. There are so many different options now, and again, this is a part of what the cloud brings. It gives you choice. Thank you for listening. As we've already talked about, we recognise that most of our customers, most of our small to medium customers in particular, have for a long time had to bring in specialist skills to look after their IT systems. And really what I've tried to get across tonight is that technology has moved on to such an extent that we can now provide most of your day-to-day compute requirements from a remote location, and our service is a UK-based service. Our two key data centres are in Farnborough and in Leeds, and all of the services that we deliver will be delivered from those data centres. So particularly if you're in a regulated industry and you need to know where your data is and you want to go and be able to look and touch it at the locations where the data is, then we can provide that service. But I guess the underlying message really from me is that you don't any longer have to be the slave of an IT manager or an IT service provider that really doesn't understand your business and doesn't make an effort to do that. All we want to do is to keep the boring bits going for you, and it's not the most exciting message to deliver, but actually what's important is that we do it well, and you know that when you go to switch on your email, it's going to be there. When you want to use your word processor or your spreadsheet or your own line of business application, it will be there, and that's what we endeavour to do.
Tim Budell there from Phoenix IT, an absolutely fascinating evening. If you do get an opportunity, do watch the entire programme, Business Connections Live, and that's edition number 41. Now, we're talking about Facebook tonight. We're talking about your business Facebook page. With me, my guest is Mark Hughes, and we're talking about how to produce targeted organic content for your business. Why do I care to share is the important thing. Why do I care to share? But the first thing that we're going to be talking about now, the actual nitty-gritty of it, is a procedure. Now, a couple of weeks you came in and we were talking about our Facebook page. And the most important thing that I felt came out of our meeting that we had was that we worked through who our actual audience is. And you said to me, who's your audience, Steve? And I said, it's everybody. Everybody and anybody. And you said, actually, no, it isn't. And then what we did, we took a whole exploratory kind of hour where we went through the age profile, what they read, what their social activities were. It was a fascinating insight, and I must admit, after that I came away feeling, well, actually that really is who we are targeting. Is that something that businesses don't do?
Not very few, and I mean, I don't think that very many smaller business owners would pay a professional profiling expert to do a customer avatar profile for them. So the mistake is made too often where it's generalised who your potential target market is, and I mean, no offence, but you were testaments to that on that day that we spoke.
No offence taken.
And I think what was great after we did that exercise is it identified so many different little opportunities and products that could now be developed going forward for yourselves,
indeed.
which is great.
So what's the procedure then that you go through to do that?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I've done a little mock-up, which I could show here, of the kind of things that people need to be addressing in terms of generating the profile of their, what I call their one person.
All right, let's have a look at it then, shall we,
Okay.
and see what we've actually got there then. There we go. So the first question, the all-important one, male or female? I suppose that's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, so the first couple, we're obviously going to just get into the demographic data, which a lot of business owners will know. It's you know, the age group, single, married, educated to what level. Let's just pop it back up. Occupation. You know, they're self-employed. What's their title? What's their role within their organisation? And then we start getting a little bit more into some key drivers, which is you know, what kind of words do they use to describe themselves?
It's very interesting, you know, because what I do, I actually find myself, if I meet somebody for the first time, I tend to ask them what they do for a living, and that's part of my own internal way that I actually make my own profile of them in a social circumstance.
Yeah. And I think you hit on a good thing there, because I think you're an experienced interviewer, and at the end of the day, I mean, you should be able to ask like 4 or 5 questions and dump at, you'll know exactly what kind of person that person is.
And but it is one of the most important ones that I use is what do you do? Because that says to me a multitude of things about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's also just in getting to know what makes that person tick.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important in terms of a social environment. I mean, if you're going to a networking organisation, is asking those kind of questions of who you think is your potential prospect, because you're getting to know them. So you think, okay, well, yeah, they like to go on sunny holidays to Spain or Portugal. So there might be some content that you can create around something sunny. You know, that's something that they look forward to that particular year, so it perks them up. You can generate some content in a business way. Obviously, it's not all fun and games. It's got to bring business perspective into it. Good way to get your brand in front of their eyes again, and that's the kind of thing. So you need to know what motivates your potential one person.
It's interesting you say that, because when I was working in radio and both in television as well, what we do there, we'd get a year planner, and we'd look at all the individual holidays and the special events that were coming up through the year. And then what we would do, we would associate either programme themes or content or promotions to those particular times through the year. So, for instance, I mean, around about this time, of course, and depending on what time, it's a bit like talking about Dave here, depending when you're watching us, around about this time, we've got Wimbledon taking place.
Correct.
And so it may have finished many moons ago. If you're watching this on iTunes at the moment, you're thinking to yourself, Wimbledon? When? It's the middle of the winter. But the thing is that, you know, you've got that moment on your Facebook. It's in real time, and you've got maybe Wimbledon going on, or the World Cup is going on, and you've got a promotion that associates with that.
Absolutely.
And it's on the back, I suppose, of the promotion that's been used for that.
Exactly. I mean, trends are a fantastic way to tap into your audience and really make something very current and relevant. And I mean, just simple things like you could have a Facebook header that said "Game, Set and Match" with funky social media. Okay, so
I like that. I like all this.
and then you could run it. Well, and then you could run a little side promotion that say through the couple of weeks of Wimbledon, we're offering a consultancy service or this particular product or that particular offer at a 20% Wimbledon special only discount for 2 weeks. So you're still bringing the trend in, you're bringing the fun aspect into it, and you're slipping a little bit of business into it at the same time. So it's not so Sally.
What they're saying, what kind of a racket are you running then? Yeah, I quite like the idea of that.
I knew you would come up with one this.
Thank you, guys. They're working well in the control room there. I don't think of anything original. They feed it all in my ear. All right, then. So let's get. So we're getting down to nitty gritty. Let's continue our way through this profiling.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
our
so other things are if we can cut back to the actual slide. It's, you know, what are their goals? What are their goals now? What are their goals in 3 or 5 years' time? What are their dreams, their aspirations? You know, what are they hoping to achieve in their business? You know, it may be well that you're offer an advisory service of some sort. So you need to know these kind of things for you to be able to produce content, which is what we're here talking about, that resonates. You know, what are their behaviors? What do they like to read? So now we're getting into the cycle. We're really trying to get into the deep underlying root of what this person is.
It was very interesting because in the old days, I mean, the shopping TV profile, when working for some of the shopping channels, I mean, there would be great big thick manuals that would be concerned about the profile of the demographic of the audience that would be watching. And if my memory serves right, 35, 55-year-old female skewed audience. They would be rabid catalogue buyers. They would know the price of everything. The typical papers they would read would be The Sun, The Mirror, maybe the Daily Mail as well. And the profile was that detailed. They knew where they went on holiday. They knew the kind of things they were looking for. They knew their clothing sizes, the typical clothing sizes, where they were within the market. It was a fascinating area because they knew everything about the audience. Now, in those days, well, in these days, talking about that, ignore your audience, you ignore at peril, don't you?
Well, absolutely. And I mean, you led quite nicely into something that I'll show in a little bit, which is, well, how do you find out online the kind of content that would resonate and that you could use to provide creative ideas and get your creative juices flowing. But we just go back to the slide. It's things like, I mean, what keeps them up at night? You know, we're all experiencing business in one shape or form of another. You know, some people are doing really well, others are not doing as well, who want to do well. You know, what's keeping them up at night? What's their desires? What's their biggest worry? You know, what is the biggest problem they're having in business? And is it a solution that you can offer? This is all the intelligence gathering. I mean, call it social intelligence, call it what you want. But this is what we're trying to gather. And, you know, what do they value most? And then point number 19, give him or her a name.
How important is that when you say give them a name? Do you mean give them the real name or your name within the business?
One of my,
on radio, it's Doris.
One of my avatars, his name is Phil.
Yeah.
And Phil is a good friend of mine, but he's also what I would consider my perfect one person who I could sell to or would want to produce content and use my content to sell things to Phil. On the other side, I've got another avatar, and she's Sarah. I think it helps that if you're keeping in the back of your mind that you're actually talking to a real person, that it's not just some robotic mechanical process that we're putting together here. This is about a real person with a real name, so when you're putting your content together and writing, you've got it in the back of your mind that, hey, I'm talking to Phil, or hey, I'm talking to Sarah.
Well, when it comes to writing, and I think that's one of the things that actually turns a lot of people off, is they're writing a whole load of text and everything. Yeah. Does it matter about the quantity, or is it really the quality?
It's all about the quality, and I mean, if we're talking particular about Facebook today, and I would say 100-character long posts are more than adequate.
Really?
Yeah, more than adequate. I think we live in
the realms of Twitter and
exactly. And look, I don't want to say that there's never a necessity for a longer 300, 500 word post. Of course there is. It depends on what the message is, what the content is, and you know, you can't always say everything in say 100 characters. You need longer, and that's fine. But I think we live in a very high-trafficked, overwhelming life now, both offline and online, in terms of having to digest all this information. So I think if you can get to the point quicker, and more importantly, the value becomes in the call to action, into telling them or asking them what to do next.
A real work example then, your business, Funky Social Media. Just describe to me the profile of your target audience and a typical post that you would put up to them.
Well, why don't I bring
the page up?
I'll bring a page up and give you an example.
Now, I must explain that what we've done this evening, I've given Mark my MacBook Pro, and he is a Windows man. Now, we're good at running Windows at the moment, and everything he's doing at the moment is with one arm tied behind his Mac. But you're getting there, aren't you, now?
I'm getting there.
Yeah. You're going to actually want to buy it. It's a bit of a training program for Mark, in fact. I tell you what, while Mark is just sorting that out, just something to remind you, if you are watching us on iTunes, at the moment. Thank you very much for subscribing. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, well, thank you once again very much. And don't forget the little red button just sitting around about here, thereabouts, somewhere around about there, where you can actually subscribe to the channel. Please do subscribe, because it lets you know when a new program has actually come out. So that's what's fantastic. So just subscribe to us here. Go to the website too, if you wish, at www.businessconnectionslive.com, and you can just really, there's the website address just sitting there. You can subscribe on the page as well. So if you are our typical audience, if you're somebody, we actually went through this profiling. I think we'll call you Peter. We'll call you a Peter. So if you are a typical Peter, or if you're a Kathleen, a typical Kathleen, and you're joining us, in fact, you can tell a lot from people's names, can't you? You can tell what era they're from, what age they are, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
A Peter or a Kathleen. Then do subscribe to our page, and we'll make certain that you get all the relevant content and information. We've got some show notes, in fact, that we're going to be sending out, but you've got to register to get the show notes from Mark after this particular program. You'll also get them to download as well on iTunes as well. Okay.
Yeah. So I've just pulled up a very brief avatar that I've done.
Oh, this is Phil and Sarah.
Yes, Phil and Sarah, as you say. So male or female, because I do have the ability to have a caveat of both genders. I would say if you can have that one person, so male or female,
right.
So it just niches it out, but you know, it's not always possible in most businesses. So male or female, and then obviously the big difference is I would also be writing content that would be for each of them.
A female skew to a male
and a male
skew,
skewed, exactly. But the age group's 30 to 55. They're kind of college, university graduates, married. They do have children, and that's normally older children, to probably even starting to look into colleges and unis. They're solopreneurs up to maximum of 3 staff, because I'm kind of pioneer of the smaller business owner. And their key drivers are their time short, their budget or money short, and of course they lack the in-depth social media knowledge, which is where a lot of my how-to and training and everything comes into it. And they've worked in a corporate environment. They've gone through that horrible redundancy, or they've just got sick and tired of sitting underneath somebody's sweaty armpit on a tube, into central London. And they were typically earning, quite good money, and now the earnings have substantially dropped, because it's the whole different process of running a business and many longer hours than you ever did when you worked for a boss. And I suppose the marketing budget is limited. It is limited. They're a smaller business owner, so they're not necessarily going to invest a lot of money in marketing. Are they prepared to invest money in marketing? Of course they are. But now we're just working within the realms of what they are prepared to spend. It's a B2B sector. And then I've just listed a couple of typical business type that I would work with.
It's interesting, life coaches, accountants, website developers. It's interesting that we see a lot of the technical people in there, don't we? Website, IT, even copywriters.
Perfect referral for me.
That's what you're looking for, isn't it?
Well, exactly.
So get them hooked, and they'll tell other people about you.
Well, exactly. I mean, a website developer, just as the reason a website developer is a great match for me, because they're working with a typical client that I would like to, once they've got their website done, then next natural step is to look at producing their social media content.
Health and well-being stylists.
Yeah.
You're just making it up now, aren't you?
Well, I think that was my wife is a health and well-being something or other.
That's a European word that's come over, isn't it?
Exactly. So I just
so you've got your profile. You've got your profile. What do you do with your profile there? It's all very well, and the trouble that you've got is that this is your perceived profile as well.
Of course.
Isn't it? So what do you do with it then? How do you actually use that then, Mark, as a tool to generate more business, or at least talk to those people?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, now that I've built out the profile, when I can go into an offline situation, I go to a networking environment, I'll start thinking about these kind of questions, start asking these very same questions of real people in the room, and start seeing who would be a kind of match for further meetings, further engagement, which hopefully will then lead on to potential business. So it's very good to do this profiling exercise, because it gets you into the habit of understanding people and putting yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about.
Now, we've got that profile. I asked you about the typical kind of thing, or
Yeah.
the typical message,
Yeah.
100 characters, that
Yeah.
you would send out
Yeah.
to your target audience. So can you just give us an example of what you mean by that?
Okay, well, what I wanted to do was possibly take you through an exercise, because I think the next thing is really trying to find the content, because a lot of business owners will say to me, well, where do I find the content? You know, I'm not a creative agency that I could just snap content out of the air or put a content writing team together and suddenly we produce this massive big content plan and strategy and etc. etc. All I need is a bit of content that is at least going to be received well. So I'll probably just take you online if that's okay.
Yep, fire away. Quick gander, just going to have a quick gander. So it's Mark Hughes this evening. We're looking at how you use your Facebook page in business. So already what we've done is we've identified, in our mind's eye anyway, who our profile audience is going to be. Now, if you've never done that for your business, it is something that you do need to consider, and it is something that you need to do. Otherwise, you're just a little bit too broad, you're a little bit too wide on who you are actually targeting. For instance, when you go into the high street, you're not thinking about going to all the shops. Your journey to the high street normally is going to be just to one shop. You're going to know where you're going. So you're going to be targeting your buying. So you as a business, you should be targeting your selling. For instance, one of the large high street chains, they're not going to be targeting everybody. They make a conscious decision to target a particular segment of the audience, and that's really what you should be doing with your Facebook page as well. So we've got your Facebook page now, I understand.
Yeah. I just wanted to take you to an app. Yeah, I love sharing free things, and I think this is certainly a good place to start if you're trying to find out exactly who your audience is. So I'm just going to quickly type it. It's a little app called Wisdom. Not a lot of people know, and it's the first one that's appearing here. So if I just click on that, it's going to probably ask you to connect, and like most apps do, a login request and all that kind of thing, but there's a little bit of a bypass.
All right.
You know,
So
some people have a problem with giving all the information on their Facebook. To the right-hand side here, you've got a little tab that says Wisdom Network. So if we click on that.
Is this an app that's actually part of Facebook, or is it something that you've put together?
No, this is part of Facebook. It's just something that I came across in my travels. And it's all about, yeah, finding pages on Facebook that are really targeting the same kind of avatar that you are.
Righto.
So I'm just going to take you through just a very quick search here. Let's get back to this client who's doing the skincare. So probably what they're probably interested in is beauty. So what I'm trying to find out now is other pages on Facebook, fan pages, business pages, and what are they putting out to their
So once again, we're replicating what other successful businesses are doing.
Exactly. Why try and fix it if it's not broke, you know? So we don't want Beauty and the Beast. Let's just go beauty. It can be a little bit, you know, hit and miss. You've just got to, beauty.com is quite a good one. Because what I'm looking essentially is for skincare, people are going to be interested in beauty.
Right.
Okay, so I've gone female, obviously because it's female only, between the ages of 36 and 58. We can go relationship status as married. Just pull it down a little bit. And let's leave it at that.
And this is actually something that is in
This
Facebook.
is totally free. Totally free of charge.
And this is an app within Facebook.
This is an app within Facebook. I clicked on the little Wisdom Network, which brought me into an internet browser.
Yeah.
Only because I just want to give my Facebook details
Right.
away to the app. Normally you do have to do it. I mean, it makes no difference. But and then I'm going to simply click on apply. And I want to actually find out about Facebook pages. So I'm going to go on here. Right, so beauty.com at the top, and this is basically telling you the most the sites with a lot of fans, the affinity, the popularity, and all that kind of thing. But I'm not even so worried about that. All I'm going to do is let's just open another tab and just go into beauty. So what I'll do now is I'll take a look and I'll think, okay, let's have a look and see what posts. And I'm going really quickly. What I'm looking for is pages that have been shared. Posts that have been shared a lot of comments, and all that kind of thing. Having a look here, not so thrilled about 3 shares. That's not exactly going viral, is it? These people seem to be posting just a lot about products. So I'm not really finding this engaging at all. So I would just discount that.
So what you're looking for, the criteria that you're looking for on these pages by using wisdom...
is great content that is being shared and commented a lot on. Because that's the information that I could look at and say, right, because they fit within the profile of the age group, female only, married, that I can go and take that content and either share that content directly, so take their content and share it, or I could start thinking about creating some similar content, but now putting a bit of my own brand into it, my own personality, and then possibly writing a blog article around it. So you're driving website traffic to your website. Could be a video. So you're driving people and then asking them to subscribe to your YouTube channel. So it's a variety of ways to.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go to one of the other sites, Sarah, and see if we can actually find a piece of content that actually looks like that. Then, and because what's fascinating about this, I think, is that when you actually put this in, how do you then promote the fact that that content is there, or do you then put it on? Can you put it onto the Facebook page that you came from, or do you comment on it and then use that as a comment to drive traffic? I mean, what do you do with it there?
Okay, well, I mean, we'll go to let's just go and see. I mean, I'm doing this quite completely off the fly, so this is good. QVC, 1.7 million fans. So I'll just go and have a quick look.
Quality, value, convenience at QVC.
So 228 people have liked that one. I'm just looking for stuff that's... There we go. So here we've got 1,903 people have liked this particular post. 559 have shared it. So that's what I would...
So that's something to actually... So that fits the criteria of what we're talking about.
That fits the criteria. So
how do we use that?
Right, so it says here it's a summer shopping celebration clearance item, so it's actually promotional. I could give up shopping, but I'm not a quitter. So you might use that image and think, wow, that image seems to be resonating, probably more so than the actual promotion. And I would then, if I wanted to promote QVC, I could literally just come down and hit the share button. Not that I'm going to do it here. And then you have the option to share on your own timeline, or you can click on the drop-down menu and on a page you manage.
Right.
And then I clicked, I'll go through the process, and then I would find New Face Miracle. I would click on that, and then I would literally just click share the photo, which I'm not, because I'm not going to promote QVC, but it's as simple as that. So there, straight away, I've curated other people's content, but I know because it fits within the profile of who my own avatar is, that's probably, not definitely, nobody can say hand on heart it's definitely, but it's going to be fairly well received. So
I can see that what we're doing there is that we're finding content that is right for the profile of the audience that we are targeting. I still don't see how, even by sharing it, because it seems to me that we're putting that now onto our page, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
So are we hoping that when people come to our page, they're going to see that content and they're going to like that content on our page?
Exactly that. So what they're going to do is they're going to come to our page, they're going to like it, possibly share it, and then once they share it into their networks, the destination now becomes our page and not QVC.
That is very clever. But once again, it's making certain that you do have that initial audience there, that you've built some audience to actually start this.
It's how long's the race. I think it's not in the start. It's how you finish. It might sound a cliche, but at the end of the day, consistency. So it's putting content there consistently. It's driving fans there consistently. Whether you're doing it the hard slog way of manually going to other pages and liking them and trying to attract the audience back to your page, that's all part of a strategy that you can adopt. Personally, I just feel that paid advertising is just so much quicker. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg like everybody seems to believe, and maybe there's possibility of another subject for another show.
This is very similar to being on YouTube, isn't it? And going on as a comment there, and what you do is you see a popular video, you put a comment, and then a link back to your program, hoping that the same people. The danger, of course, with that is that you may be perceived as spam. Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to say, look, Mr. Fan, Mrs. Fan, Miss Fan, Master Fan, whatever you refer to them as, or Mr. Prospect, or Mr. Current Customer. We are producing content that we believe you will find interesting, and not only just interesting, but interesting enough to want to share, which is why do I care to share.
What are we going to be talking about next? I love that. Where do we go to after that?
Right, I wanted to possibly show you a little bit in terms of the insights on Facebook, stuff that Facebook provides. You know, everything I'm showing today doesn't cost an iota except for a bit of time.
I tell you what, that's what's so fascinating about the whole thing, isn't it? So wisdom, that's what you've got to be looking at. It's a great way to identify who your target audience or what your target audience are actually looking at. You can actually go to the websites where your target audience are hanging out, where they're sharing things, where they're making comments about the different things. And of course, all those things you can then bring to your website, and hopefully a similar audience or a similar audience that is commenting on, in this particular case, the QVC site, that audience will then follow to yours, and you'll have an opportunity to actually exploit them and maybe target them as a potential customer, or at least a follower or a fan in the future. It's a fascinating area. More to come on how to make your Facebook in business page work for you. But before that, we're just going to look at some of the things that we should be thinking about when it comes to getting out there, and we're using ourselves to present different things. And that's what's so important these days when you're out there in public. We had Steve Bridger on the programme a little while back, and we were talking about the power of the presentation. Now, I was at a number of presentations a couple of weeks back, in fact, and it was interesting. There was a lot of PowerPoint going on, and PowerPoint in itself is another program that we're hoping to do in the future. You know, we call it affectionately here at the studios, death by PowerPoint. There is a danger a lot of times that people will overuse PowerPoint or Keynote. And it's not the actual tool that's getting it wrong, it's the way people are using it. Sometimes they will formulate in their own mind's eye the way that they're going to talk, what they're going to be talking about. And they will use PowerPoint or Keynote to actually maybe give key points that they're going to be talking about, but they put too much detail. They don't think about their audience. They don't understand what their audience wants out of the presentation, what they're using key point or keynotes or whatever, what they're using it for is nothing more than just an aide-memoire for them, so that when they're standing up there, they've got something they can point to and they go, ah, yes, look at it, this is point number 55 on this slide. It's something that you shouldn't actually be doing. You should be using PowerPoint and Keynote to be a more effective way to help you communicate in business, as opposed to being the core way that you communicate in business. We had Steve Bridger on. He was talking about the whole essence of presentations. It was a fascinating program, and the title of the show was 60 Seconds on You. Here's Steve Bridger. I'm joined this evening by Steve Bridger. He's going to be talking about more effective communications.
The thing about standing up and being, if like, seen and put on the spot, people just think, they just go like mush. They just don't know what to do. They don't know how to cope with it. And they think it's all about them. But of course it's not. A lot of people say, okay, let me tell you about me and this is what I do. They miss out two vital words. It should be what I can do for you. It's the for you that they forget about. And really, when you go into networking situations, it's really the important thing is to realize that you've got a contribution to make, how you can help somebody else's business. There are so many people who go into business without necessarily doing the proper research to understanding that whether the business is right for them, whether they understand the business, whether they understand their competitors and what they're doing. They go into something because they just love the idea that they've come up with, realizing that there's probably only 9 people in the universe who actually like it as well. We start by realizing the role, the importance of communication within a business. And the best way to do it is to think of yourselves as a messenger. And the crucial thing is that when people think that they are in that absolutely, totally essential, pivotal role in the business, how important that is, that they realize that whatever they do, whether they're writing or speaking, that role is absolutely fundamental to business success. Remember that in a business situation, People are stressed. People have got their own targets. People have probably come into meetings from, you know, from logistics, and they've come in from marketing, and they've come in from the packaging, and they've come in from, you know, whatever it may be, the different facets you've got in business, and they've got all these other things in their heads. How do you sort of slow it down and make sure that they understand exactly what it is that you want to say, and go away and do it properly for them to do what you want them to do? Because clearly, when you are talking in business to people, educating them, informing them, whatever it may be, the job you're doing, fundamentally, then is once everything is finished, they go away and they do what you want to do, i.e., they actually execute what the company wants them to execute in the right way, in the right terms, in the right time, and so on and so forth. And understanding and analysing the audience is one of the most crucial, fundamental jobs of the messenger. And all I could say, and here's the interesting thing, is that when you start talking about audience analysis, and if you can tell me, by the way, what on earth is going on in that lady in the second row, is an interesting thing. Now, but the point is, I could tell you, generally, within this particular audience shot, with all these people sitting there watching this 3D film, I could broadly tell you, and I'm only talking broadly to make my point, because if I try to get any cleverer than this, then it will be lost.
Right.
Because the crucial thing is that sitting within that audience there, watching that screen, there are 3 types of people. This group of people are, if you like, the blue sky thinkers. These are the people who get the concept. They're interested in the idea. They just love the whole thing that you've come up with. Okay. Group 2 are the dynamos. Right. These are the doers.
Other batteries are available, by the way.
Other batteries are available rather than Duracells, indeed. Now, these people are absolutely crucial to running any of the business, and in fact, a proper business, ideally, would have people in it working for it that fall within each of those 3 categories which we're about to explore. And then, the inquisitors. These are the people who absolutely love facts, research, resources, backup, evidence, evidence, evidence. How long is a minute? Depending on how quickly you speak and your nature of delivery, it's between 120 and 180 words per minute. Now, I want you to say, first of all, it's Steve Bridger, and I have a book on startup, which is Success Before Startup, but I'm also a writer, and all of those things that have helped me really shape the presentation tonight. But the key thing about it is that when you are thinking about putting up something together in the business to be able to communicate yourself, make sure that you are absolutely clear in what you want to do, how you want to put your message across, and using all these different techniques to make sure that you become a better communicator.
Steve Bridger there. Did you notice on his PowerPoint presentation there wasn't a single word, except for maybe action, which was on the cover of the picture that he had in the PowerPoint slide. It was a very, very effective way of actually showing how powerful PowerPoint can be, or any presentation package can be, when used in the hands of a professional. Steve Bridger there. We're going to get him back on a future programme as well. Our guest on next week's programme is Mark Rouvray, on how small businesses can raise their ranking in the Google search results through search engine optimization. Now, this is, I mean, it's just changed recently. Google do all sorts of things on a just on a whim. They'll change the different ways that they actually do the ways that they will judge and rank different pages within Google. It changes on a regular basis. There are some sites that are out there that are at the top of the rankings, at the top pages, and then all of a sudden they're 3 or 4 pages down. We're going to be looking at all of that, how you can go about ranking your business's pages so that you get top ranking. With me right now, I've got Mark Hughes, of course, from Funky Business.
Don't worry, Steve. Just say you got Mark Hughes on the show.
Got Mark Hughes on the show. Funky social media. No, I got there eventually. Now, what we're going to talk about now, we've talked about the wisdom, so we can actually see the pages that are targeting our target audience.
Sure.
Now we're going to look at some of the back.
Well, I think the other thing now is starting to look at a little bit more back office, because at the end of the day, you know, you could be putting content all day long, Well, how do you know, unless you're checking, how do you know which content is actually working for you or not? Yes, on the front end, on your page, you'll see somebody liking it, possibly sharing it. So that's a good start. But at the end of the day, you don't know. And look, it comes back to the same thing. It depends on how many fans you've got. It depends on how actively you're trying to get new and fresh fans onto your Facebook page. But at the end of the day, these little insights, as they call them, is completely free tool provided by Facebook right in the back office of your Facebook business page. And I think very, very few people are actually paying attention or even possibly even know about it.
Of the businesses that you deal with, how many of them are actually either aware of this or use it?
I would say probably about 20% are aware of it. I would say probably 2% would probably even look at it.
Really?
Yeah, it's phenomenally
and how powerful a tool is this then?
Well, shall I show you?
Show us. Let's have a look.
Just in terms of the information,
screen, haven't we? Yep.
Yeah, just in terms of the information. So if we just go, I might have to go back because.
You tell us whenever you're ready.
Yep, I'm
there
ready.
There we go.
Right, so I'm just using another new client's page here, and very simply, fresh page. At the top here, you've got your little navigation tabs, and one says Insights, and that basically stands for Facebook statistics.
Right.
And if you click on that, it starts giving you an overview of the type of things. So you're getting page likes, post reach, engagement, which are all important because Facebook have what they call the edge rank formula. Now,
what's that mean?
I'm going to try and explain it really simplistically because it's this
I'm not that bright.
Algorithmic, a quadratic equation, and I'm not going to try and begin to explain because I don't even understand it. But the way I understand it is really it's the activity that goes on and the popularity of your page.
And this is the same as YouTube as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They're looking at all of this. It's because you have the tags on your YouTube video pages.
Yep.
You put in what you think the video is all
Yep.
about. You put your keyword tags
Yep.
in there, and then YouTube will go, okay, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Then after a while, it makes up its own mind at how much response you get back
Yep.
to the page.
Yeah. And
now, can I just give a little tip?
Sure.
By the way, if that does happen to you, and you find that you've got a YouTube video that's out there, it's been out for a while, and maybe it's not really working. If you, what will happen over a period of time is that YouTube will slowly start to use its own algorithms, and it will say that particular video that you've got there, people aren't interested in, so it won't show it. It won't be promoting it for you. So what you do is you go into your tags and you change your tags. You either add, take away, or change them. And what happens, a lot of people don't know this, what will happen then is that YouTube will see that, and they will nearly look at it as if it's a new video, and it effectively starts from fresh again. So it will look, it will start, it will promote, it will see it as a new video, and then it will make up its mind again about those particular tags. It's well worth going in. So if you've got a video that's up there at the moment that is languishing and is doing barely any views or anything like that, just look at your tags again, reassess the tags, change them, and then off it'll go again, and YouTube will start promoting it.
And I'll take one further just to give you a little extra boost. You change the tags up and you go to a site called Pingler, P-I-N-G-L-E-R, pingler.com.
Right.
And that's what they call a ping site. And you put your title of your YouTube video, the actual YouTube video link, so the URL, put it in there, it's pretty self-explanatory, and you ping it. And what it does, it sends out notification to all the authority blog networks that something's been changed, and it pulls some backlinks back into your video.
And that is Pingler. Spell it again?
P-I-N-G-L-E-R .com. Pingler. Or there's another one called Pingomatic. P-I-N-G-O-M-A-T-I-C. Or there's another one called Ping Farm. P-I-N-G Farm, as in the farm animals.com. There you go. It's an education.
Yeah, I'll be using those, I can promise you that. All right, then let's get back to this.
We'll get back to the insights, and the idea really is to find out if you're getting any kind of engagement whatsoever. If you're not, then bottom line is I either don't have enough fans to warrant any engagement, or you're not writing the right content, or putting up the right content. So very simply, one that remember we were talking about wisdom. The other thing is, once you've identified a couple of pages, so there was beauty.com and there's a couple of others, once you've identified those, Facebook provides what I think is just fantastic little built-in feature in your insights, and if I scroll down, that'll all become very clear. Over here, before we get to that, you can see the type, the targeting, the reach. So you can see this one's reached around about 133 people. They've only got 280 odd fans, so that's quite good. 235, it's even better. And not that we need extra reasons to eat cherries. So cherries in summer obviously went down quite well. It was quite well received. Engagement rate's quite high. We're not going to get into boost posts because that's paid, but anyway. So we've identified the pages on wisdom. What we can do now is say, right, we know that those pages are producing the content that's going to be resonating with our ideal one-person customer profile avatar, whatever you want to refer to it as. And then we've got this little thing called pages to watch inside your Insights dashboard. Now you can see I've put in Oprah Winfrey, Beauty411, and a couple of others. Now what I do now is, you can see Oprah Winfrey is getting a lot of engagement.
A lot of traction.
But here's where the beauty comes in. If I click on that, this week's, as you see at the top there, it says this week's top posts from Oprah Winfrey. Now, it doesn't get any better than that, because now I can scroll down and see 4 or 5 of the top posts, see what kind of content's been well received. This is more celebrity stuff. But you know what, celebrity, trending, all that kind of thing works really well with the ladies. You know, they're reading Heat magazine and all these other things, so they pay a lot of attention.
But I would imagine in a corporate world, maybe if your website is based around technology, there's going to be technological posts that are going to be out there that people are reading, they're finding out
Social media, marketing, legal stuff, finance, wherever. I mean,
so what do you do then? Do you put that onto your website?
Well, I could either share that straight away, or I could use that as inspiration in which to say, okay, that kind of content is going down really well. It's got a lot of shares, got a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So how can I spin that around to my advantage and to bring some exposure to my business, my brand?
That sounds good. Now, just one more point.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you how easy it is. Right at the top there where it says you can add pages, you just click on add pages, and now you could do a search. So you can type it as keywords. So we could go, let's go skincare. So skincare, and it'll pop up a whole lot of these here. I'm not totally familiar with these, but it'll pop up a whole lot, and then all you do is you click on watch page on the right hand side, and that'll add it to there, and Facebook will watch that page for you, and then you can go in every now and again, once a week, click on that page. It'll give you the top posts for the week.
And is that a little bit like having an RSS feed, but through Facebook in a kind of way, showing you the talking points that are coming up?
Exactly. I think what Facebook is saying, it's like everything, it's about the experience. That's all Facebook have ever wanted, is to say, right, what is the relationship and engagement and conversation rate going on between yourself and your audience? And when I come back to the EdgeRank formula that Facebook has, it's a very complex algorithm, but it's very simple. Facebook is saying, if you have got a well-received particular post or page and people are commenting, liking and sharing, well, what we will do is we will take that content and we'll give it some extra attention in the main public news feed and give you more exposure. It's all about, why do I care to share?
Why do I care to share? And that really is what this is all about. Why do I care to share? Probably wraps up the program. I'm going to ask Mark just to give us the key things that we should remember. As always, I think Facebook for Business is a very difficult area to be dealing with. There's so much to actually do. And Facebook is just one of the many tools that are out there. We're hoping to get Nikki Creel back on the program in the near future. She's going to be talking about Twitter. But she also talks about all social media. Social media, very powerful way to promote your your business. Another powerful way to promote your business is to have a program just like this one on your website. It may not be an hour long, or in this particular case over an hour long, but it may well be actually a 5-minute program that gets the key message, the key facts about your business, the what's in it for your customer over to your customer in a very simple interview style. As you can see, we can use laptops, PowerPoint, we can include them all in a program. You can have a branded show just like this one for your business. We call it the virtual newsroom. If you want to contact us and find out more details about that, just send us an email to studio@businessconnectionslive.com. Go to the website. You can also give us a call, give us a ring on 0178 4256 777. You can give us a ring and just ask for either Linda or Steve, and we'll be able to sort you out. If you are watching on iTunes at the moment, thank you very much indeed for subscribing. If you're watching on YouTube, it's getting mad now, isn't it? If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. There's the little button just sitting there. Also, you may well be watching us on Daily Motion as well, for that matter. Very nice to have you as a viewer to the program. Don't forget to visit the main site at www.businessconnectionslive.com. Do go there, and also just sign up, because we've got all sorts of different information. In fact, we've got some show notes for tonight, haven't we?
We have, and one thing I haven't covered is, which I'd love to provide for your viewers, is a content calendar. So it's all well trying to gather and create the content, but having a calendar where you can actually put this into it and actually plot your whole content strategy is vitally important. It'll just save a bit of time and just help you to keep a little bit more of a strategic, methodical way of doing things.
If you'd like to download that, just simply go to www.businessconnectionslive.com and you'll be able to sign up and then get a link to be able to download that particular information. Fantastic. I know we're running hopelessly over time tonight because it's such a big subject. Just a few takeaways then for our viewers. Straight down camera number 3 would be absolutely fantastic. And really, just take it away. Number 3 is yours.
Right. All right, folks. So thanks for joining us tonight. And a couple of key takeaways. Make sure, first and foremost, before you do anything, I don't care whether you've been in business for 10 years or 10 minutes, do your customer profile, know exactly who your audience is that you want to talk to, and make sure that based on that, you now start creating content that resonates and it's going to be well received. And more importantly, that's written for your target market, because when you do it that way, they're more likely to actually share it with their network. And hey, that gives you more exposure. Get targeted and pay attention to your insights, to your statistics, because there's no point putting content onto your Facebook page day in and day out if you don't know whether it's working or not. So profiling, good content and statistics. Good luck with that.
Thanks a lot there, Mark. Absolutely fantastic, and thank you very much indeed for watching this evening. Don't forget, on next week's edition of the programme, it is Search Engine Optimization. That's what we're going to be talking about. Mark Rouvray is going to be on the programme, how small businesses can raise their ranking in the Google search results through search engine optimization. If you're not familiar with it, it is the black art, actually. And in fact, if you talk to someone who does SEO and you mention the black art, they actually will throw their eyes up in the air, because there are some things that you can do in Google or when it comes to SEOing that is frowned upon. They call that the black art. I consider the whole thing a bit of a black art. It's all a mystery to me. So it is search engine optimization on the next edition of Business Connections Live. But I do hope you've enjoyed this evening, and we look forward to catching you next week. Can I just say thank you very much indeed for coming in?
Absolutely, my pleasure. I love being here.
And will you come in again?
Oh, of course.
Okay, you're a lovely man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Social media, that's what it's all about. Social media, are you using it powerfully enough for you? Well, if you're not using it powerfully enough for you, maybe you should start considering it. There is another program where Mark's done part 1 on using Facebook as well. So have a look at that. Rewatch this program, take the notes, get the downloads. Job done. See you next week. From me, Steve Holland. Bye for now. Bye-bye.